right, so Her Majesty from Abbey Road, the last song, there was 14 seconds in between the end and Her Majesty. And originally, this was in between Mean Mr. Mustard and Polythene Pam. And when they got to the mixing stage, you know, the final decisions, McCartney told the engineer to take it out. He didn't like it. He said, take it out and throw it away. But at the time, they had a rule that no Beatles tape was ever to be thrown out. So the engineer gathered it up afterwards and wound up sticking it on the end of the album. And when he played it for McCartney, McCartney thought it was great. Anyways, it's an amazing little song. I got a request for it the other day, and I wrote some notes on it. It's 24 seconds long, and there's 17 chords. There's 6 slash chords, 1 borrowed chord from the parallel minor key, and 3 secondary dominants. And I'll go over all that as we go along. Plus, it's got the weird picking, the thumb finger stroke strum thing that he's famous for. So we're going to start out with just that D chord, right? Now, what's happening is we've got that descending bass over a D chord. So what McCartney does live, because I found, I think one thing of him playing live, he goes like that, right? The D, and then the C sharp, and then to get that note, he's going to hook his thumb around all the way to get that A string. Okay, now I can't do that. I mean, I can do it, but you see my thumb's like bright red. I can't do that easily because my hands are small. So, if you can do that, great. But if you can't, the way that I wound up doing it, because if I did that, then I've got that open G, and that's not in it. If I went that to get that A note on the G string, then I've got an open E string, and you can't have that because there's a pinch on that particular note. So the only way that I could figure out how to do it was to play my D like that. Just bar there and put your third finger on B3, and now you've got, and you can get that chord if you get your middle finger over on A2. Now it's a little awkward, but for me that's nowhere near as awkward as doing that. All right, so that first line then would be pinch on the D and the high E, and you've got this little strum, and we try and keep that little strum on the G and B string. It's with your first finger. So it's da 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 da, right? If you've learned other McCartney songs, this won't be a big deal for you. But if you're new to his picking style, you'll be like, what the hell? So now a pinch, real slow again. All right, and I'm going to count out the chords as we go along because there's 17 chords. I know you probably don't believe me, but okay, so that's 1 chord, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go to this E7 chord, fingering it like that, or on that B, the B note on the A string, open D. Then an A chord, back to this D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 chords so far. Now we're going to repeat that after we finish it with that pinch. Then we do that little lead in there. A, A2, A4. Now we'll repeat. E7, twice as long, and then we go to this A chord, and now we've got this little lick. So that's more chords. We're going to hammer that on. That's a D over an A. And then we pull it off. So it's a pinch, on the B string and the A string, and it's down, up hammer, pinch, down, up, hammer, and then pull off. And then we hit that E string on the 2nd fret. So another chord, that's an A6. Now we're going to go to this B minor, and we're going to Travis pick this part. So we're like that. So we're going to pinch again on the B string and the A string. Now take our finger off and do this B sus2 while doing the Travis. So we've got, so that would be your 9th chord, which is your B minor. Your B sus2 is your 10th chord. Now we're going to go to a D7, and again, we're not actually, we don't Travis pick that, we just stay on the D. So that's your 11th chord. Now we've got this G, but it's a G and then a G over B. So a G would be your 12th chord, the G over B is your 13th chord. Now we're going to slide up to the G note on D5, and we're going to play this chord, but with a little finger. That's a G minor 6th, and that would be your 14th chord of the song. So from here, and then we get into the last section would be, which is this. So we've got D, and they're picking on that is down, like thumb, down, thumb, up, down with the finger, right? And that's your B7, which would be the, have we done a B7 already? No, that's the first, that's the 15th chord. And then we're E minor 7, which is just there and there. And we're going to pinch the B string and the E string. So we've got, and then A. So, and then we've got back to the D. And that's the rhythm of that picking. So it's pinch, E string, D string, and then a down, and then an up on that open B as we hit the B7. And then we go to this E minor 7 and we go. So that's E minor 7, and then we hit the A string. And that is now, actually, that's a G over an A bass. And the G over the A bass would be the, where are we here? That's the 17th chord. So, G over A, and then da-da. That's a D over A, but we've already included that in the first section. And then just a D ending on that open A. So that whole last section coming from here, real slow. One more time. that's it. The secondary dominants that I talked about, anytime you get a chord, a dominant 7 chord, that isn't the dominant 7 chord of that key. In D, of course, the dominant chord would be A7, or that's with all, like the root, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th. But you could also play A, which he does in this song. So that's the dominant chord is A, right? So in the beginning, we've got this E7. So that is the 5 chord of A. So that's the 5 of the 5. Right, so that's one secondary dominant chord. Now later on, we've got from there, but we've got a D7, and that's not a diatonic chord in the key of D. D is it, right? D7 is the 5 chord of G, which is the 4 chord in the key of D. So that's the 5 of 4. And then later on, we've got that B7 chord, which in the key of D, the B is a minor. That's the 6th chord, right? But we're making it a dominant 7th, and that's the 5 of the 2 chord, the E minor. In this case, minor 7. Minor 7. So we've got E7, D7, and B7, the 3 secondary dominant chords. And then, of course, the borrowed chord would be, we're flatting the 3rd from the G and adding that 6. So that's not a chord in the key of D either. G is, the 4 chord is major, but if you make it minor and just adding the major 6, making it a G minor 6, because you got the minor 3rd. That's your borrowed chord from the parallel minor key. So let's play the whole thing once, real slow. And then up to speed. And the speed on the record is 100 beats per minute, which is like really, really fast. So I'll just try to guesstimate that. I hope you get something out of this. I really hope you enjoy the video, enjoy the history of it, and enjoy playing it. And talk to you next time.